I don't think AOC is going to run for president. I just want to put that on the record. Not only do I think she'd make more sense to run for Senate, and I think she's smart enough to realize that, from the way that she was talking about it today with David Axelrod, it seemed pretty clear to me that that is an intermediate goal. But some people run for president say such things to kind of portray themselves as that farmer just tending to their field called upon by the Republic to save it.
Oh, yeah.
But last thing before we go to the students, because I would be drawn and quartered if I did not say this. There are a lot of people who would like you to run for president in 2028. Apparently, some of them are here. And there are people who, there are others who would like you to run for the United States Senate. Senator Schumer's up in 2028. I don't know, it sounded like even more. Should we do it?
To New York or to other parts of the country?
How many would like AOC to stay in Congress? See, they want you to make a move.
Yeah.
A curd is a curd.
What say you about all of this?
You know, it's funny because in this op-ed that Jeff Bezos paid for in the Washington Post, there was this line that you had mentioned earlier about, well, as a potential 2028 contender, XYZ. And in the context of that, it was very clear this was a veiled threat, right? So it was the elite saying, if you want this job, you just stepped out of line. And we want you to know
a curd is
where
a
the
curd.
real power is.
8D5D2 Derek has donated $5.
I'm doing the math. Republicans are going to have the Senate ×2 every time the Democrats get it. The map is only getting worse. Senate controls, court picks. We are in big trouble. I mean, there's a real chance the Democrats take back the Senate this time. There's questions of like statehood and how that could change the balance. There's also questions about, you know, how states are becoming more purple over time. Like, I think if Texas becomes a state that could reliably put forward just one Democrat in the Senate, that's a real change. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as doomer about the impossibility that like Republicans are just going to continuously keep winning due to math, even though they are a smaller political party than the Democrats, and they have a whole host of problems that they have to tie themselves to right now. So, I mean, they're resilient.
And it's in the modern day barons who own the Post and own the algorithms, and we'll make an example out of you. And what's funny about that is that they assume that my ambition is positional. They assume that my ambition is a title or a seat. And my ambition is way bigger than that. My ambition is to change this country.
And she's got a much better chance as a senator right now than doing a long shot run for presidency that would probably lose.
Presidents come and go. Senate, House seats, elected officials come and go. But single-payer health care is forever. A living wage is forever. Workers' rights are forever. Women's rights, all of that. And so, anyways, a finer point to your question is that when you aren't attached, right? When you haven't been like fantasizing about being this or that since the time you were 7 years old, it is tremendously liberating, because I get to wake up every day and say, how am I going to meet the moment? And conditions change radically all the time. So I make my response less to an attachment to some positional, like title or position and working backwards from there. But I make decisions by waking up in the morning, looking out the window, and observing the conditions of this country, and saying what move or what decision can I make today that is going to get us closer to that future, stronger, faster, better than yesterday.
Honestly, I'm really I'm really impressed by AOC as a political operator, the amount of influence she's been able to build, the fact that she didn't just kind of get higher in her own supply, that she understands kind of how the sausage is made to a degree and how important committee positions are and how you have to fight for committee positions and you sometimes have to compromise for committee positions, and that if the left wants to gain institutional power, it must first gain power within an institution that could be the institution, i.e. got to have influence within the Democratic Party before you can expect any transcendent Democratic Party to at all take in your viewpoints into their consideration when it comes to both writing and implementing policy. So, I mean, I just want to put forward, out of all of the outcomes of electing a waiter with not really that much political experience beforehand to this job, she has done pretty well and has passed with flying colors when it comes to being a political operator, being somebody who can be considered, after taking out Joe Crowley, the third most powerful Democrat, is now being considered to take out the most powerful Democrat in the entirety of the party in Chuck Schumer. And Chuck Schumer knows this, and he is doing his best to try to control for this outcome, because I don't think Chuck Schumer would like to be gone in 2 years. I think if it was up to Chuck Schumer, he would run one more term at the very least, and then serve, I guess from today, would be another 8 years in office instead of another 2. Whether AOC is actually going to pull the trigger and make that Senate run, I do not know. I do think, though, that if she did, she'd win. And so it's a question about what she thinks is best for the long-term health of the progressive movement. If she thinks that it would help progressives more if she was to stay in the House and get more positions in the House, maybe. If there was a bunch of committee positions offered with influence, maybe. But ultimately, if there isn't something offered enough, then I don't see what would stop her from running for Senate, unless she, for whatever reason, calculated that her chances of failure were actually quite significant. Now, I'm not saying that if she runs, she is going to win. What I am saying is that she's much more popular in the party than Chuck Schumer. People want change in the Democratic Party. Chuck Schumer is very old and she is very young, which it adds more to the aesthetic of change. And her policies, a lot of them, have now been taken up by most of the base of the party. And anytime the Democrats fail or fall short when it comes to resisting against Donald Trump, where's that blame going to fall? It's going to fall at the feet of Hakeem Jeffries in the House and Chuck Schumer in the United States Senate. So all of these things put Chuck Schumer in kind of a difficult position. Not kind of, very much so. Dylan, I missed the stream. Did you talk about Turkey today? No, is something happening in Turkey? I missed something.